Hey, what is up, everybody? Good morning. Today is Tuesday, July 20th, and we are going to jump right into the news. It has been a roller coaster of a 12-hour span, not even maybe like the last couple hours for the entire NFT crypto space has just been, I think, just an emotional roller coaster for everybody. And the two kind of like big stories being the weird whales as well as the Ethereum price dipping lower and lower, now being in the 1700s. Um, the weird whale whole story, if you missed it, you missed a doozy of an afternoon on NFT Twitter, as well into late last night and into this morning. To fill you guys in, the story is that there was a 12-year-old who posted about his wheel project. It started to sell out. It got some notice from some influencers on Twitter, and then people started buying and like aping in. The floor for the alien whales was like at zero point 0.5. The cheapest whale you could purchase was around 0.15. And the floor was quickly rising. I mean, the volume was insane. And over the course of about an hour, they did almost 150 Ethereum in volume. At this point, somebody tweets out that the whales look like clip art and it looks like the 12-year-old is a fake and all this FUD is being thrown out there, and the market immediately flips. And we go from having like a 0.15 floor down to like a 0.02 floor. And everybody's just selling stuff. People are flipping things that they bought for 0.75, for 0.1. They just want out. And this continues into the evening. And then the creator finally tweets saying that, yes, this is my project. This is the story. This is what's happened. And everybody immediately apes right back in. Everybody who had low sell orders immediately getting those gobbled up, and the floor rising back to where they bought. It's a really good example of FOMO, doing your own research, not trying to chase the floor up, making informed decisions, not acting emotionally. Like there's so many lessons within this whole kind of like event that happened around the whales. I think they're gonna have some historic significance just because of how much of the narrative it took over from Twitter, how everybody kind of knows about them. People are already setting them as their profile photos. They're originally 0.025 Ethereum to mint, and I think right now the floor is sitting like around 0.15 again. Benjamin, who goes at Obi-Wan Benoni, created the project. He's 12. He talks a little bit about his, how this came about. He has a YouTube channel. He's into coding, how he got his start. And, he's been doing these code camps and he wanted to get into Ethereum. And after learning about it and NFTs, and then he started his first project, which was called like Yeehaw Minecraft, and it was like this like Photoshop hand done project around Minecraft, and he got bored with it. And then he basically started playing with the boring bananas GitHub repository, generating his own images, and he just jumps into it. And then he talks about even like the cost, like it's the real deal. It's really cool. There are a lot of people saying that his dad was involved and like it's not the same, but to see youth at that age jumping into this, I know at 12 I was not into, I wasn't around, but like when I was 12 I was not this into cutting edge tech. And to see somebody who is putting themselves like forward and trying this, and even if it's with their dad, is really great. I think we should support that. So currently, about 24 hours after that original tweet of you can still get them, he has done 550 Ethereum worth of volume. The whales currently even looks like the floor is now up to 0.25. I thought it was at 0.15. It looks like the entire floor has been snatched up from 0.15 up to 0.25. And I'm expecting this to just continue to get bought up. The alien whales are like the one thing looking through the floor that has not been gobbled up. The floor is still like point 0.8 to point 0.8, point 0.9, maybe 1. And then people, I guess, being selective. That is the one area I think we'll see the most dramatic multiple change today. But it does look like this floor is just going to get aped up, and we could see a 1 Ethereum floor for all whales, and who knows what happens from there. In other news, OpenSea expanding and announcing that they are raising $100 million at a $1.5 billion evaluation. This is led by A16Z, and it's just more momentum behind OpenSea. They're getting so big, they're moving so quickly, executing so fast that it is almost, it's like how does another player come in and compete if they have all this money, they have, all the eyes on them, it's where all the secondary sales are happening. It does feel like that is where we will see the winner for the NFT secondary market be solidified, is with OpenSea right now. So that is huge news. Another thing I'd love to just point out, because it has some personal meaning to myself, but I think it's really cool and I didn't know about it. Hash, which is allowing you to mint an actual transaction. So you can mint the hash of a transaction and it produces an art piece. Now, this was the minting of the Final Punks comic token, number 10,000. And this is the result from that. And that is actually my transaction, which is really cool. So you can actually go and generate art from, I think there's one from when Vitalik rugged the one dog coin. There's there's one for there's a whole bunch of stuff. It's very cool. And I enjoyed jumping into it and learning more about what you could do, just because it's turning a piece of history into art, and that wasn't originally meant to be art. And then you can buy and sell and do stuff with it. So you can go here and explore and see who's minting what and what you're able to mint. But it's very cool. So I encourage everybody to go take a look at that. I had a hot take, which I didn't want to be a hot take. But essentially, I hope people stop, just having hot takes. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but the whole mess around the whales was everybody jumping in and saying, "Oh, it's a 55-year-old man who's pretending to be this 12-year-old," and then there were people saying, "Oh, he doesn't even know how to code, and it's fake," and the whales are ripped directly from Google, which they weren't, and there are all these people having very, very hot takes. And on the other end of it, there are people this is the next coding prodigy, and I'm we're in a hot take just bonanza right now. And I encourage everybody to be better community members and just try not to have a post that stands out and puts you away from everybody. I think adding value is definitely the long-term key and stable way to growing within Twitter and the NFT space. Taking a look at today's NFTs, the market is recovering a bit from where we saw yesterday. Yesterday was a lot more red on the 24-hour. Here, if there is any red, it doesn't seem to be too bad, except for the projects that are really, really struggling to gain their momentum back. Bored Ape Kennel Club continuing to get its rise with speculation of the announcement of utility. But yeah, there's definitely some NFT momentum back into the market right now. The one thing I will say is, you need to go onto OpenSea, go to stats in the top right here, click it, and then go to rankings or activity, and just analyze, see what's happening with the market. Click on the 24-hour, see what is absolutely ripping the last 24 hours. Understand why. How many assets are there? How many owners are there? And it's a really easy way to see, like, okay, is something just launching? Is there a reason for this? Is it because it's just do your research, understand the market, touch and feel. Like if you're listening to this video right now and you're drinking coffee and this is like your morning wake up, pause the video, go there, just scroll through 1 minute and then come back and like the rest of this, you'll be like, oh yeah, like I kind of saw that happening with the activity, or I saw a lot of people on that project when I looked at the buy activity going in. I'm starting to get those trends. That's kind of what I do, and it seems to work for other people as well. Just trying to keep a touch on what's happening. Um, Looking at specific projects, Forgotten Runes Wizards Cult, still kind of down around that like 0.07 floor, and it does seem to be gaining a little bit of volume. But the notable thing was that I looked through this and I noticed that there are a lot of people just selling off in batches. So like this triple guy, 4 quick sales. I think I went down here, Stickman, quick, getting a lot of stuff kind of sold out. I don't know if these are people like completely exiting the project or what, but it definitely does seem like there is a lot of sell activity happening this morning or over the last 24 hours. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward with this project. I do like it. I think it has potential. But I think as fast as the market is moving, if anything is like, we'll wait 5 months, we'll have a game or we'll have this utility, people don't want to wait and they will quickly sell your project just to buy back in. So that is something that we might see happen. One of my favorite projects right now is Justin's Twin Flames. Twin Flames having another, 5 sales in the last 24 hours. We had a 25 ETH, 14 ETH, 12.5 ETH, and a 16.66 ETH sale just come across 43 minutes ago. There was another Twin Flame traded for a punk this morning that I do know of. So at this point, if you were buying Twin Flames, you should be valuing them at the price of a punk, and actually valuing them at the price of a punk plus tax. Jacob, the NFT attorney, explaining me how he did his valuation for his trade on his Twin Flame, valuing it at 28.88 to 30 ETH, and then trading for a floor punk. Essentially, he was able to get that 28.88 in that trade because he deferred that taxes by making that straight up trade, not realizing gains, and just trading assets. So that was really cool. It's another thing to keep in mind. Like if you are trading stuff, you're not actually like realizing a gain or realizing a loss or any of that. You can just straight up trade and get around it. So Twin Flames continuing to go up. I do think we'll see this floor quickly move to 20. It's sitting at 20. It's sitting at 14 right now. And we can take a quick look to see how many between 14 and 20 there are. I don't think there's a lot. But it does seem like this is getting a lot more eyes on the project just because of photography seeming to be the next hot area for NFTs. So only 3 sales away from having a 20 ETH floor. And then from there, I think things will get a little crazy because the listings at that point start to go quickly into like the 50 plus range after a few more sales. And there are some that are like, forever holds. I'm not going to sell this for under 100,000. I'm not going to sell this for under 200,000. And some of the more iconic photos like the DeLorean, the Weed, the Peru twins, and also the fact that some of these can only be matched with the other 10 blues makes them very valuable. So it's exciting. So congrats to Justin again. I like to cover that project, give some more light to photography. Crypto Beast giving them a little love this morning, seeing that their volume is way up and that they are really moving over the last 2-3 days. There's eggs going from between 0.25 all the way up to 3 and 4 ETH sales that I've seen come across. this is a project to keep an eye on. I've known Tommy a while, and it'll be exciting to see how this project evolves over the next couple months. But yeah, the eggs are definitely selling, and there's volume around the project. Keep an eye on it. I think it's under most people's radar. Besides the fact that they always see eggs on Twitter, and I always see eggs on Twitter, I don't see as many people talking about it in like the general community, as probably it will be in a few months as it probably starts to take off. Looking at Ghost having volume of 50 ETH, 6 sales over the last couple days. We did see that 31 ETH sale for the original 1999 drawing of Ghost. I mean, again, love this project, love what they're doing. It is the like on a podium, look at it version of sell your art cheap, build a community, and value will come. And as long as you give more value to your community, they'll stick around, they'll love you, and you hopefully over time will be able to bring in more and more people and build that community larger. So excited for what's happening here. I know he is moving off to Japan. I know that was a dream of his, which will be exciting. And I'm excited for the next announcements for this project because I think they're going to be pretty epic. Looking at the Bored Ape Yacht Club floor price sitting right around 7 right now. I mentioned this yesterday. The floor is at 7, but it's not that many sales away from like going to 8 then 9. So it won't take that much volume to get there. Just looking at the recent buys and sales, seeing a lot of stuff between like 7 and 10, having 112.5 roll through here. So yeah, once again, just kind of chilling around the floor. Nothing too crazy. I don't see like stuff in the teens and the 20s rolling through. So we're still kind of playing mainly on the floor. And I likely expect that to be where all of the price action and activity is happening for the foreseeable future here, unless there's a big announcement. We see a ton of people ape in, and then we see the floor really move. I think we're really just kind of stuck in this like little limbo zone until we get the next announcement. Kennel Club floor price sitting at around 2 ETH. A lot of people getting offers, a lot of people removing their sales. I've seen Captain Trippy here selling a lot of stuff, so hopefully he's putting that back into the ecosystem. I'm curious to see why he's selling and where the money's going. Pranksy having a sale for 2.5. So yeah, the activity here is actually pretty high. We're seeing sales all the way up to 6 ETH, 2.5 to 4 ETH being the most volume right now. And we're likely going to see this floor continue to rise. I know the utility speculation is pretty rampant on Discord and Twitter, and whatever is announced for the drop will be pretty interesting. I think we're also seeing a lot of people get out of their NFTs to get into ETH to then get either into stable or to get into altcoins at a discount and then ride the wave back up. Because I do expect the movement back from where we're going down to be very rapid and pretty harsh back up, because we have a lot of money sitting on the sidelines. A lot of people have been stable like 50% or more since like 2 months ago, like a month ago, back when we were up around 4, and they're just waiting to buy back in. So there's a lot of ammo on the sidelines right now that's definitely ready to get back in. Art Blocks Curated volume and sales, trailing off a little bit over the last few days, but it's definitely coming back. The Fermenties still seeing sales on the ones. Aerial Views, project that has been a little bit overlooked in my opinion, having a sale here for 0.4. Yeah, I mean, it just continues to be a very strong buy center. Everybody wants to get in. Algorithms for 0.7, not a bad pickup. I know the floor yesterday was like 1.25. Chromie Squiggle for 2.5 here. So everything with the Art Blocks community still continuing to be very, very strong. We can take a real quick look at the Chromie Squiggles to see how they are doing. I do think I looked, and like things such as the fuzzies were selling pretty high yesterday, like for 5 ETH. And then the floor on Squiggles currently sitting, looks like 2.5. So we're pulling back a little bit. I think we're almost at like a 3 ETH or over 3 ETH floor on Squiggles at one point. I think there's a little bit of people trying to get out, fearing that the NFT market pulls back a little bit. You can see a lot of these were recently just bought for like 2.5 and being sold at 2.7. Even here, one being bought for 3.2 and being flipped around for 2.6. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Chromie Squiggles, with some of these paper hands getting out that were just buying on speculation of a quick flip for profit. The Subducks floor price is 0.2 currently. Activity still seems pretty strong. Seeing, an 8 ETH sale, lots of stuff above the floor going for sale. I think people still like the ducks. People like the ducks. People like the cats. People like the whales. So we're getting to a point though where money's starting to get very, very spread out. And at some point, I get that like kind of bubble sense where some project's gonna just collapse, or some demographic within NFTs. Maybe it's profile photos that don't have a strong community, don't have a lot of buyers, will kind of fall in. It doesn't mean it will die there, but I definitely think we'll see prices really pull back at some point. 0.8 ETH floor on the Cool Cats. Just another project where like the floor is up, people are excited for the Ghost collab, and then more people are trying to get in to the project, and that doesn't mean at the floor, it actually means like all within the price point. So we're seeing stuff from between 0.8 all the way up to stuff in the 1 to 2 ETH range going for sale. This floor could very quickly move to 1. I think there's just a lot of eyes on the project. People really enjoy it. It's still something that we see people using profile photos on. So that is exciting. Fame Lady still sitting at the normal 0.15 floor. Most of the sales looking here right around the floor. 1.7 sale coming in. It's just churning on the floor. And usually when I see this with a project, that if you think it's going to come back, this is a good buying opportunity. Send out like some underbids at like 0.1. Hopefully it goes up. But if this is like a project you have strong conviction in, you think it's going to go up, this is the classic like rise and then consolidate at a certain point, and it's just waiting for that like news or that spike to go from there. But I still like the ladies. Curious to see what happens with them. The Meebit floor has been pulling back from the 2 ETH floor that we saw to like 1.6, 1.7. I've seen a lot of sales come through this morning that were in like the 2 range. However, a couple really good steals. I saw one that was like a box shirt, the Supreme shirt with a gold chain, get picked up for like 2.2. But the volume on Meebits currently is a little down. The pricing is a little down. So it's one of those projects where we haven't had an announcement. When that announcement comes, you'll get that FOMO really hit. So potentially a time to start looking to buy that Meebit if you don't have one, because we could see prices pull back a little bit. USD to ETH obviously being down means you can get into a Meebit for around $3,500 to $4,000, $3,500 to $4,000. So it's a little bit more accessible to some people. It'll be exciting to see what happens there. I'm just mentioning this again because it's going to be something that people talk about all day today, and it was pretty iconic to watch the whole thing play out with, the pump up, then down, then up, and then, who knows what's next, and then find out there's a first project before. The floor price currently sitting around 0.2. I saw a ton of sales coming in for 0.25 at the beginning of this video. At the end of this video, still seeing that strong buying happening. Seeing some zombies come in, some normals. Obviously, does not look like there's as much liquidity on the high end for the price scale at the aliens. I was mentioning this in my Discord today that if you're going to get in some of these projects and look for like quick flips and want to have that liquidity, buy the floor. That's usually where the money will be easiest to flow, and you'll usually be able to get in and out the quickest. And then you can just list the floor. If there's a rising floor, it's most likely the fastest, quickest way to get out. Punk's still sitting at 20 ETH floor. Nothing really changing there. Most of the price activity happening just at or above the floor. We did see a huge beanie sale happen for 195 Ethereum. Beanie with 3D glasses roll through. Other than that, a lot of the stuff in the 19 to 30 range for the sales. And yeah, it's just punks are still blue chip. Punks are still the thing to own. And I think we've seen some of the punk sales slow down as people are kind of being smart with their ETH and trying to put it in places that they'll, one, either not get damaged the most, or be able to get the most return on the way back up. So I do think we'll see NFT sales slow down a little bit. But it'll be interesting as this is like the first potential big downturn with ETH, with an NFT market kind of thriving, to see if people price stuff in a USD value or ETH. I'm still pricing stuff in ETH. ETH is, the golden way that I value everything. It is the natural currency for the ecosystem. So even if, we see USD go down to $50, I'll still value, stuff within ETH. But that's actually interesting. Now that I say it, if it goes to 50, maybe I would change the ETH. So that's not the same, but you get the point. That's usually how people are valuing these projects. The cryptocurrency market, as I said throughout this video, is down. It's down about 4.25% overall. ETH being down over 10% over the last 7 days and down 3.2% in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin dipping under 30,000 per coin, and Ethereum sitting at 1763. I do think that there are a lot of people calling for like a bear market and that there's lower lows to come. Please do your research, talk to people, try to make an informed decision on what your best like game plan is. I say this every video, but it's like, it is the truth. Like, don't read one person's tweet and be like, oh, like they're a big account, I'm going to follow what they say. Yesterday was a great example of, influencers and big accounts don't always get it right. There are people saying that this 12-year-old was a fake. There are people saying that he was a prodigy. There are people saying that the whales are stolen, that it's like, you need to make informed decisions on your own and make sure that you, at the end of the day, will be happy with your decision because you made it, not because, oh, I just read something and followed their advice, and I don't believe it or don't understand why I'm making that decision. You should make and understand that, because in the most trying times, and Nate Alex in the interview I did with him kind of killed this and drove the point home why, which was in the most trying times, like if you are thinking Ethereum is going to go way down and Ethereum's starting to creep up, you start to get like an anxiety of, well, I think I was wrong. Like, is it right? Well, I'll just, I'll buy back in. There is a strong chance if you really believe it, you'll hold out longer and let the market kind of play itself out instead of just, making a FOMO or emotional decision, which is the wrong way to play the market, and the wrong way to operate as a trader, buyer, flipper, and an investor in this space. So that's kind of like my closing comment for how to approach buying and selling right now. That is the July 20th market recap and NFT news. There's a lot more that's probably going to happen over the next couple hours. DGen Data actually sent me some really interesting things on what is happening with the Chromie Squiggles as well as the art blocks market. I'll give that a quick shout out real quick to end the show because he has been a huge help in understanding some of the trends and being able to spot things before I have been even been able to spot them. Let me see if I can find that. So DGen Data sent me a few charts saying that the last few there are a few projects, if you go into DGen Data under art blocks, that are starting to pick up more momentum, while others are consolidating a little bit. So if you go to dgendata.io, I believe that's the website, you can go there and start to analyze some of these projects within art blocks and see, is money flowing from one to another, whereas what has not been appreciated in value as much as others. Is there one that's been overlooked? That's definitely a strategy that is worth doing, because we know that art blocks has been kind of blue chipped by the market and by buyers. So with that, I'm going to end the show right there. Have a good one. Share some positivity today, and I will catch you guys on the next one tomorrow.